I hope you're ready for a great August. There are so many good games coming. I'm Falcon, and today on gameranx, here's the top 10 best looking games coming in August of 2017. Number 10 is StarCraft Remastered, and that is a good thing. If you're from the original StarCraft era, and I am, you remember how pixelated the graphics were. Remember, this was a game that was not designed to be seen in HD ever, and there are still people playing it because it's great. The new version not only has 4K graphics, but it supports widescreen, and believe me, that is something that drives me nuts about old games and going back to them. I really like my widescreen. I know that's probably a shallow thing to care about, but you don't realize how much you like something until you go back to something that came out before it was there. This version will also unify the communities. The old StarCraft community will now be integrated into the Blizzard launcher, which is great. That's going to make it a lot more convenient for everybody, and it should also get more people into StarCraft on account it is now there. It's part of everything. I'm not gonna lie, I like the original StarCraft better than the second one, so I'm pretty stoked that this is happening, to be honest. Number 9 is Yakuza Kiwami, which is coming for PS4. It is a remaster of the original Yakuza, and yes, I understand 2 remasters in a row. Trust me, these are both gonna be worth it. Yakuza was a game that wasn't entirely as polished as it should have been, and over the time that sequels have been made, people have gotten more acquainted with it, and the developers have streamlined it a little, and a lot of that stuff is going into this version of Yakuza. They've also filled out the plot a little bit because sometimes it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense, and that's great as well. Honestly, the thing I'm just stoked is that I can play Yakuza and switch fighting styles in the battles. That's the thing that I'm after in this. That's probably the golden goose for me. It's been a while since I've played it, so I'm there. Number 8 is Absolver, which looks to me like a really innovative game that, I gotta say, just impresses me every time I see it. It's this absolutely beautiful, hyper-real, somewhat surreal-looking setting in which you play these elaborately fluid martial arts battles, and it looks like just beyond fun. It's slightly massively multiplayer. It's not full-blown, you just run around and there's every single person playing the game right there, but it is something that seems very interesting. And the thing that I'm looking forward to most is the PvP. They say there's going to be battle arenas, and frankly, the combat system looks awesome. And the whole combat deck idea seems like it would be good for that type of thing. But the art style really has me interested as well. It's so different without really being different. That's the thing that I like most about it. It's kind of impossible to nail down why it's unique, and I'm sure we all eventually will as we've looked at it for a long period of time, enjoying it, but I'm quite excited for it. Number 7 is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is something that I was very skeptical of but have warmed to over time. Like, we're talking about the Rabbids, so there's that, but honestly, it looks pretty fun. Honestly, a streamlined, casual version of XCOM kinda seems like fun, and it's colorful. It really looks like a Mario game despite not being developed by Nintendo. But the other time that they outsourced Mario to create a totally different type of game to Square, making Super Mario RPG, I think turned out incredibly well. So I'm willing to give this a chance. Like I said, I've warmed to it over time, and maybe that's gonna be a good thing. I'm actually pretty damn hopeful this is gonna be a good game, so fingers are crossed. Number 6 is Sonic Mania. If you are anything like me, you grew up in the 1990s, you know Sonic. You know that Sonic was at his best back then. Yes, there have been games that have been made in the 3D realm that have been fantastic. Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations come to mind. Those are great versions of Sonic the Hedgehog and pretty much how Sonic in 3D should work. But there's always gonna be that, hey, it'd be nice if they also made the 2D games as well thing in the background. And Sega listened, and they got pretty much the best Sonic fan game guy, the guy who made the best engine and ported all of the games to, HD and mobile, and they're actually great mobile ports, to team with several other developers and actually have a budget to make a brand new 2D Sonic game. And while it is going to contain some remixed content, it looks to me as though these levels are going to be a lot larger, and the new levels frankly just have me incredibly excited. The whole game looks great, and I think it's probably going to be the thing that breaks the Sonic cycle, if you're aware of what that is. Number 5 is Lawbreakers, which is a really interesting concept if you ask me. I'll say the gameplay itself isn't absolutely groundbreaking, but the framing I like. The law versus the breakers. In all honesty, it kind of seems like Overwatch combined with really old Star Wars Battlefront, with a few modes that really remind me of that old school Battlefront. particularly Turf War, although it's not entirely the same as the old Capture the Command Post gameplay. Still though, this seems like it's an aesthetic and a framework that actually will bring some interesting stuff to the sort of now a little bit overplayed hero-based arena shooter. It's pretty clear that when a game does it right, the game succeeds, and when it just kind of seems to be doing it for the sake of doing it, it doesn't. So obviously Lawbreakers is going to live and die based on that. Number 4 is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which has been labeled this independent AAA game, claiming to have the production values of any AAA game out there, however, being developed and published totally independently. And if you want my full opinion, that alone, if delivered on, is more important than a lot of the other things about this game. Now, I'm not going to say that it doesn't seem intriguing. It absolutely does. It's a very good-looking game and seems like it is going to deliver on that promise. It's based in Celtic and Norse mythology. It's a kind of a person versus their own mind type conflict as they traverse a world that is filled with the manifestations of their own mind's conflict. And it actually seems to kind of combine Dark Souls combat. I mean, not full-blown one-to-one, it seems just a tiny bit quicker to me, but a more introspective look at actual real-world mental health stuff. And I think that's a really good idea, because a lot of the time these types of issues are not explored in a manner that, well, let's just say a lot of gamers consider interesting. That's not a knock on anybody. In fact, I'm just saying that it's good that they decided to try to do it this way instead of another walking simulator that they put not enough effort into to remain interesting. I am so there for this, and I can't wait to play it. Number 3 is Agents of Mayhem, which is basically an insane looking game. It's Saints Row, except for everything is superhero oriented. It's specific to the Recreate Earth timeline of Saints Row 4, specifically the Gat Out of Hell expansion, and it really seems like this interesting take on that universe. I don't know that this is canon, or if canon even matters in Saints Row. Frankly, I've played all of them and I can't keep track of it. But the thing that I like most about the series is essentially that it is creatively stupid, intentionally creatively stupid, and it seems to me very much that this game is in fact continuing that tradition, except for more like G.I. Joe or the A-Team, where it draws its inspiration for the structure. However, it's obviously meant to be way more over the top, and, well, I think they're going to deliver on this one. Number 2 is Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is a prequel to the other Life is Strange and does not contain the time manipulation mechanic, which I think is very interesting. A lot of the point of Life is Strange is that the time manipulation messes things up, and through that mechanic messing things up further, they sort of make a commentary on the inevitability of the events and how there are certain things you just can't meddle with or have a choice on. So doing a prequel in which all of the choices are essentially you're stuck with them and this is how things go, I think fits in pretty well with the design ethos. It has a lot of the characters from the first game and sort of sets up what's going on, but I think it will be helpful to make the other game maybe have a little bit more meaning, to have more idea of the background. I'm excited for this. I really enjoyed Life is Strange, and there is also another Life is Strange project happening, so things are good for the people that liked that first game. And finally, number 1 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, a game that really looks friggin' phenomenal. It was originally going to be designed as a DLC for Uncharted 4, but frankly, they kept going. They made a much bigger game than they intended to, and they liked it a lot. And that's the kind of thing that gets me excited about a game. When they set out to do something and it becomes something much bigger that they're really excited about, that's basically the thing that makes me go, oh, yes, bring that my way. Because almost all the time in video game development, when the scale of a project changes, it is to make it smaller. Usually you set out to do something big and you go, well, that's not possible. Now, I love the Uncharted series. I think they're great games, and just to have another of those games, even though Nathan Drake isn't a part of it, is kind of the thing that I'm excited about here. Also, frankly, we need a character arc for both of the characters here. They've both kind of been not the nicest people in the main Uncharted storyline, one of them being a villain and one of them being a monkey wrench. So I'm interested to see both of them develop further beyond that. A few bonus games for you, including F1, which looks to be a pretty big upgrade over the previous version. Obviously, Formula 1 racing isn't where it used to be, and it kind of needs a revival. Hopefully we can get one out of this. Madden NFL 18, which, again, NFL games really not as big as they used to be. FIFA kind of overtaking it, oddly enough, probably because of the worldwide appeal. Madden, however, is a powerhouse, and I'm looking forward. Ark Survival Evolved, their full release is coming this month. It hasn't been received as a perfect game, but it's certainly very interesting, and a full release obviously should give us a little bit more of a idea. It's really cool, it just needs to be good. Hello Neighbor, which is, by the way, the coolest game. It's a stealth horror game that this is one I'm personally very excited about. Game about trying to sneak into a messed up neighbor's house. Tacoma, which is something I've been looking forward to for quite a while. Sort of a BioShocky type game without the combat, really. One of those games that structures its story like BioShock. I'm really looking forward. And The Long Dark, an exploration survival game. It's a really intriguing permadeath-oriented survival game that finally dunks you in a snow environment for one of these, but does it artfully. What are you looking forward to most this August? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.